Hi, Claire. This is Rebecca with your assignment one feedback. So, thank you for the video presentation and for the design brief. Um, the I love this mood board. The sign shop is one of my favorite Victorian fonts, so great choice there. I think your color palette also turned out really nice. So this final logo I think is wonderful. Um, the I love the way that you layered the magnifique over the tent and put the white around it. That feels very Victorian. I think it's super cool. I love this between the anything, any of these descenders here and this above the X height line is really nice with your ascender of the F going up. It looks really cool. So this is all super successful and gorgeous. This is looking really nice too. It feels a little distorted, but not in a distracting way. It feels very intentional, and I think it's working nicely. And this bringing this, kind of style back up into here is working really nice too. The only part that I am having a problem with is the banner. So here's what I recommend. So first of all, our word circ is having just a little bit of kerning issues. Notice that there's a lot more space between the Q and the U and the E than than the space between the I and the R and the Q. So I just recommend going in there and adjusting it so that it's all even. And then from there, consider either adding something to fill in the space here and here, just like a very tiny little something, like maybe this little swoosh down here, add that here and then going the opposite direction here or something like that. Or move the word circ to the left a bit, chop off some of this banner and pull it in over to the right. You have a little bit of space here to do that. So um, we really just want the banner to be long enough to house the word that's on it comfortably, where there's not a bunch of negative space on both sides. That's what I'm trying to get out there. So you can fix that by either adding a little bit of design in there or making the banner itself shorter by cutting a chunk out and then sliding it over and matching up those lines there. All right, excellent. Then do it for the color version as well. And then so the vertical version is not going to read like this. So yes, as it is, your logo is fairly horizontal. So I don't really have like a recommendation for a vertical version for this. And I'm not really sure you're going to need that. So it's okay if you don't have a vertical version because this what we would normally do is like maybe type on a vertical path the word magnifique or something, but this font is not going to be very legible stacked on top of itself, you know what I mean, in a vertical format. So that's why I'm sounding so iffy about needing a vertical version. I can't really think of like a great way to make that happen because you have a long word. Yeah, I think it's fine just having the horizontal version for you. Then we have some logo placement examples. I don't see the logo here, so get rid of this. I think maybe you were just using up some space in this little slide or something, but we just don't need it there. This looks great. I do recommend having a bit more of a margin on the sides of the logo here, so you just need to scale that down a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay. Then over here are size stipulations. So now you're showing me different ways of having your logo. We're also using a different font for the word circ. So that's not what we're talking about with size stipulations. What it means is taking your original logo here and specifying how small is the smallest it can go, basically before we lose visibility in your smallest text. So if this logo was to be on a business card or embroidered on somebody's shirt or hat or on a ticket, a tiny ticket, You know, how small can that logo be to still be legible on that ticket? So if you need to have a secondary logo instead of your vertical logo, that is something like this, where the word circ is easier to read at a larger scale, that's totally cool. So basically, you can have the logo that has the tent and the banner, and the smallest that it can be is, I would say like 1 by 2 inches or something. It's probably gonna maybe not even be that small to be able to still read the word circ. And then anything smaller, you would require them to use this version of the logo without the imagery and, all the filigree and things like that. And then this size could be very small. You also want to specify the maximum size of your logo. So if this was going to be on a billboard or like painted on the side of a building, or, some gigantic, how Las Vegas will have a gigantic graphic on the side of a huge casino, that kind of thing. Um, you can specify that there actually is not a maximum size for this logo. It can be however big they can imagine it to be. Okay. Then, so for our font variations, oops, I'm sorry. I don't recommend having this many font differences. Uh, that's a lot, and they are all super cool. But I think that maybe the original, maybe this cool one, and then picking, I don't know. We really start to lose our branding when we get into stuff that's like very, very different. You know what I mean? So I think maybe for the font variations, it would be more of like using the circ and the banner versus this circ. Like those are the only two variations they can have. Yeah. Okay. Then that's fun. That's fun. Great. So when you update your banner, just make sure you update it on these mock-ups here, okay? And I'm so glad that you tried out that dashed stroke method. That's really fun. I love your color palette, and like I said, I love your font choices. So thank you so much.